Hey, what's going on, Flix Talkers? Welcome back to another episode recap and review, this time for episode 4, season 2 of The Righteous Gemstone. Now, this episode 4 is entitled As to How They Might Destroy Him. Now, before we do get into it, guys, if you are new to the channel, I do these episode breakdowns every single week, so make sure if you guys aren't already to hit that subscribe and bell notification down below to always get alerted when I drop my next video content. And if you guys do like what you saw at the end of this video, make sure to hit that big thumbs up to like the video. It's the best way to support the channel, and it does spread these videos out to those that aren't subscribed. Alright guys, so obvious spoilers ahead. I don't think I need to really say this anymore, but in case you did click on this video by accident and you haven't seen episode 4, make sure to come back after you watch it and hit play on this video so we can all talk about the things that we liked, the things that we didn't like, what worked for me, what didn't work for me, my favorite moments, and what's to come in episode 5, season 2 of The Righteous Gemstones. Alright, now if you guys have been watching The Righteous Gemstones since season 1, we've gotten flashbacks, and this season isn't any different as we start off episode 4 with the flashback to the 90s. We get to see baby Billy Freeman with his son Harmon. I couldn't help but notice this boy looked like he had a disability, so it was even more heart-wrenching once he left him at the pet shop. Billy did abandon his family, and his son was kind of walking after him, knowing that he had been left behind. I thought that was terrible. On Christmas as well, or around Christmas time, I believe, because he was taking pictures with Santa, the mall Santa. So I thought that was a terrible, terrible thing that you could do to your family, and it definitely lets you know and solidifies the type of person that Billy Freeman is. Next up, we get a scene with Judy and BJ as they are talking about the upcoming baptism, where BJ is going to be pretty much, sworn into the Gemstone family. We know that he does everything for Judy and just pretty much to please the Gemstones, even though Judy thinks that this is the right move. She is being very, very forceful. She never lets BJ, since season 1, since the beginning, she's never let BJ make up his own mind. She's always guided him because of how she thinks that she looks in the family, or how she thinks the Gemstones look at BJ himself. So everything's pretty much just, she's very, very self-absorbed. And we do get to meet BJ's family, who is definitely a nice bunch. We're introduced to his stepfather as well, who raised him, and we do find out that they are agnostic or atheists. I couldn't really, the stepfather does say that he's agnostic, but Judy says that they're atheists. In her mind, I think if you don't believe in God, there is no agnostic or atheist. You're immediately atheist, and that just adds to the comedy factor. As Judy says to Eli, they, hate Jesus. So just funny little comments along the way, but they butt heads immediately upon meeting. Next up, we get to see Lyle Listens, Eric Andre, one of my favorites, man, and I'm so glad he's part of the cast this new season. But we get to see him and his bestie, Jesse, kind of just going at it. They're throwing axes at this place. I don't know that there's a bar or whatever that allows you to do that. Instead of throwing darts, they're just throwing axes. I guess they do it different in the South. But of course, they're talking about the Zion establishment that they're looking to invest in. And Jesse breaks the news that, hey, you know what, Lyle? I can't come up with the 10 million, and he, fakes the crocodile tears and whatnot. And Lyle is pissed because it makes it seem like he's already kind of put forth or even put up possibly Jesse's money, maybe, assuming that Jesse would come through with that gemstone money, that gemstone 10 million. But it's not happening. Lyle's pissed. He goes, well, let me talk to Eli. And Jesse's like, no, I'll talk to him. So Jesse goes to talk to him a second time later in the episode, but we'll get to that. Now, next up, we see that Eli's car has been vandalized, and I use that word lightly because it's one tomato that was squashed on the windshield, and we see it's thanks to Junior as he sends what looks like some kind of retired wrestler, after Eli. It's so funny because they all work with wrestlers. Eli used to be a wrestler, the Maniac Kid. So, it's really, really funny that it goes full circle in a wrestler's after Eli once again, even though he's changed his life over the past 3 or 4 decades or so. Now, next up, and probably the biggest chunk of our 40-minute, just under 40-minute episode, is BJ's baptism. Now, I really had a good time with this one because you get to see so many things, so many emotions going on at this one location. So first off, let's talk about BJ getting baptized. So once again, we know that he's doing these things for the wrong reasons. I don't believe that he is a full-on Christian. I believe he's being persuaded once again. He's a people pleaser. He wants to please Judy in particular. He wants to please the Gemstones. But Eli knows, he sees through that shit. He knows that BJ doesn't really want to get baptized. He's just doing it for the fact of Judy. So once he does get baptized, the party's on. And it's funny that Jesse and Amber, they kind of remark that, hey, this looks like a wedding. This does not look like a baptism, as there's a dance floor, there's a DJ, there's huge elaborate cakes going on, and all these posters of Judy and BJ together, like in weird poses. It's really, really funny stuff. And it does look like a wedding. It looks like a wedding that the Gemstone family never got. Like they never got to attend because technically they didn't the first time around. And throughout this whole baptism, we get to learn that Billy's on the rise. I guess he's a, preacher, singer, and he's made the Christian pop charts. Jesse confronts Eli saying, hey, daddy, you're, messing around with, all these women around town and whatnot, even though he's not doing that. That was just one situation where he nicked his balls. Literally, he tells him about the interaction with Lyle Listens, how he was so disappointed they couldn't get the 10 mil. Eli basically tells him to fuck off, as Eli's boiling point is starting to hit a mid right now. It starts to get high, don't worry, but this is the midway point. You could definitely see it all building up because of this Gemstone drama. Next, we get to see some bizarre, and I use that word lightly because these are pretty extreme accusations coming from the controlling Judy in a bathroom scene that I was not expecting. So you get Judy versus KJ, who KJ is BJ's sister, and Judy just says some outlandish things and accusations, pretty much alluding to incest, and it was weird and disturbing. I will just say that. I'm sure when you guys saw that scene and heard Judy saying that, you were like, what? Maybe this is commonplace in certain parts of the country, but not where I'm from. And at this point, Judy has definitely planted the seed in BJ's head as he goes off on KJ, grabs a piece of cake from his own bust of a sculpted cake, chucks it at KJ, she ducks, and it hits Eli square in the face as he's talking to a senator. Good Lord, I gasp when I saw that, because I know Eli is the controlling, he is the god of this family. He is the god of the Gemstones. As we find out also early on in the episode, Lyle says that he Googled the Gemstones and they're worth like $600 million. But once again, that ain't the siblings' money, that's Eli's money. Which then ends this crazy wild baptism, and I think Eli's breaking point when Jesse confronts Eli about the whole Kelvin's God Squad Israel trip being shut down. I really, even from the get-go, did not understand the whole purpose for Kelvin's God Squad other than, I guess to spread the word. I guess that's what they're doing. I don't know if they're selling anything, any kits or books or training videos. I don't know what they're doing initially other than putting on these exhibitions and displays of greatness and giving it up to the power of God and whatnot. But they were set to do a 40 days and 40 nights in Israel trip. Don't ask me how that's going to work. I don't really know. But as they were about to board, Martin lets them know, hey, Eli ain't going to fund this trip, which leads to Jesse confronting Eli at the baptism, and it doesn't go well. As we see, pretty much they have a slap off, then a fight, which leads to Jesse getting his thumbs broken by the Maniac Kid. That's right, he awoken the Maniac Kid once again, which I thought was awesome. And the fact that I wanted to see more Maniac Kid, and we got that. But guess what we're going to see probably next? A damn heart attack. Eli is old, man. I mean, he can't get through these stressful moments anymore. And it's going to land him in the hospital before the Gemstone family really wake up and realize what they're doing to their father. But at the back of their head, they kind of want this. They want him to die. I think even Jesse said during their fight that, you know what, I wish I would have hit you with that bottle, causing your ultimate demise, because they know they're next up if Eli is gone. And next up, we get to see, like clockwork, Billy is a piece of shit once again as he leaves his wife, his pregnant wife, Tiffany, behind at the baptism as he takes off. And you see that in the rearview mirror, leaving South Carolina. What a piece of shit. He learned nothing. He absolutely learned nothing. Even that interaction with Eli earlier in the episode, earlier in the baptism, said, hey, You know, don't make the same mistake that you did with Harmon and leave him behind. You got a new kid on the way. Do what's right by them. Do the right thing. And it looks like he's definitely not doing the right thing. So, hey, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And finally, we end off this episode with some bizarre action as we get to see Jesse and Amber being shot at a gas station right outside the Gemstone party wagon. I don't know what to call it, but that's exactly what it looked, as there was music and drinks and they had a driver. But I didn't even think about it until just now. What if that hit was initially meant for Eli Gemstone? Jesse took Eli's party bus, and most likely these shooters don't know what the hell Eli looks like, so they just assumed if he was on that Gemstone bus, that's gotta be Eli. So I can only assume that this is Junior sending a more extreme message Eli's way. And that wraps up episode 4, season 2 of The Righteous Gemstones. So once again, guys, I had a great time with this episode. You guys let me know, leave a comment down below your favorite moments and what do you think's to come from episode 5. I would love to hear it, guys. I just really want them to leave BJ alone. Man, come on, pull those punches, give the man a chance. And before you guys leave, if you guys did appreciate this recap and review, let me know by liking the video. It's the best way to support the channel, and it does spread these videos out to those that aren't subscribed. And if you yourself aren't subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe and bell notification down below to always get alerted about future videos like this. All right, guys, join me next Sunday as I break down episode 5 of The Righteous Gemstones season 2. Till next one, I'm gone. Peace.